Alright, so this is the final rundown of everything I've got. Um, Pretty much including food, only missing water. Uh, and I'll do that day of, obviously. But so everything that's going with me is currently out on the table. What I've done already is I have it packed away very nicely. Here's just a, I had some extra space, so that's a place I decided to put some electrical tape. But here's the cooking stand. Here's the stand for the pot, and then I have my paper towel protecting the actual ignition unit, and then I have my two little poles for my French press coffee. So that's all packed in there very nicely. And then the lid, so it is the French press. You use this lid and then you drink right out of this cup. It has a built-in cup, and the Jetboil thing, this will tell you when your water is boiling, so you don't have to pull the lid off. Once you see this turn color, you know it's boiling. So that's that. And then in my cooking pot, I had some space to just put some of the protein bars in here, but in here is where I'm carrying my fuel, and I have that packed in. This is just a plastic bag from a grocery store and a paper towel on the base, just to protect the surfaces without adding a bunch of weight. But so that I just put in there like so, and then with this it holds that in place, so while I'm riding it's not shaking around too much and scratching up the pot. So that fit in there nicely. Again, I found a little room to squeeze those protein bars in there and allow this to hold itself shut. So that's good use of that space. And that's the quick boil with the jet, so this stuff right here is the cooking. I just have an extra little folding cup here. I've just got that so I can make my coffee in the French press, use that, and then I can boil water for other things if I need to, or use this for something else. So it just gives me a little more stuff. So cooking, food, oatmeal. This is just a little hydration powder. I'm gonna have an Nalgene bottle, so just some electrolyte stuff. We just buy it in bulk at home, so rather than the little packets, I'm just bringing a little jar of that. I'll find a place to store that away. Actually, it's looking like it will work well with this somehow. See how? So that's like a good fine use of space there. Pack that in there. This is my sleeping pad, some extra straps, all the clothes I need other than my riding gear I'll be wearing, but that's just light jacket, light pants, a couple shirts, couple pair of socks. I'll be riding most of the time, so I don't need a lot for clothing. Have my fluffy comforter, towels, sleeping bivy, heat blanket, head pillow for sleeping, a hammock with a rain fly, my ground piece for the tent for moisture barrier, and then my two-person tent gives me room to change in. My solar charger battery pack that holds enough power for days for charging GoPro batteries and phone, to make sure I always have a good charge and everything. My jumper pack for the bike, never needed it but never know. First aid kit, zip ties, and then I have a tool bag on the riding bar. I've got my toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, headlamp, just a couple extra Ziploc bags for who knows what, and then some towels, reusable paper towel type things, and bars, extra tent stakes. So all of this is going to go in my hydration pack, and then in these two bags, as well as my top bag right here. So everything's about to get packed up.